Good morning. Give everybody a minute to come on here. Let this thing do its thing. Have some coffee. So, good morning. I'm Stacy. We're Loving My Veteran. This is Walking in My Shoes. And we have so much going on that I just want to bring everybody up to speed this morning. Like I always do first thing in the morning, to kind of get everybody on board and let people join in. So, tonight we have our Let's Talk. We're not making gingerbread houses tonight. It is a great opportunity for you and your veteran to come join us. We'll be on with our veterans as well, having just a great night of conversation and fellowship and talking about things that just kind of affect all of us. So it's a great way to kind of be supportive together. We have a great time when we do that. So please join us. I'll put that link up in just a minute. Again, we have a lot going on, a lot in the planning stages and in the actual working stages. Do not forget, and this is really, really important, you share this with your other veteran friends and spouses. If we need those letters with issues from the VA, we will keep your information confidential. We're not posting it to our page, any of that, but they need to go to the Secretary of Veteran Affairs before we do some changing around. So it is imperative that you get those to us as soon as possible. Michelle and Roxy will be reaching out to a lot of you who have put some one-liners on and try to get your letters and mail them to lovingmyveteran@gmail.com. Like I said, we have that audience, and so now is the time to utilize it. Okay. So that's kind of where we are on that. What else great is coming up? I know that starting in January, we're going to kind of theme out our months. And the month of January, we're going to do a lot of self-help and self-awareness and taking care of ourselves and fighting the winter blues. It will be by Monday. There will be a printable calendar that you can journal in, and it'll have inspirational things for each day and kind of little steps to help keep us on track. So that will be available on Monday on the website. Please, if you have not gone to the website, www.lovingmyveteran.com, and subscribe to the newsletter, please go ahead and get that done so we can keep you up to date on all the stuff that's going on. I know there's been a post on the page about a GoFundMe. It is a GoFundMe for Loving My Veteran. Good morning, Marianne. It is a GoFundMe for Loving My Veteran. Y'all know that we started this, for those of you who don't know. Carl and Jeremy and I, my veteran and his buddy and I started this at a morning Roxy at a kitchen table or table outside at my mom's. And everything we do has been funded kind of from us. And we're great with that. We don't mind this at all. This is just our calling. But the thing that we need is we really need that 501c3. It is a federal tax ID number that lets us stay a nonprofit. So we've put a GoFundMe out there to try to raise that $1,000-ish that it's going to cost to make that happen, so we can continue to go forward and provide more services and resources. So just keep that in mind. Today we're going to really talk about something that I think it's a tough topic. Nobody wants to talk about it. I know that it's almost taboo to talk about it in our house because it would create a situation we don't need. But do y'all feel like you live a double standard with your veteran? That the rules that apply to one don't apply to the other. And I'm talking especially about in conversations. So like when my veteran, and I can just talk from personal experience, when he gets in a place or his words are stuck in his head, he wants to be left alone. Or he wants to talk about just whatever he wants. And if I try to get that, it doesn't happen. So I feel like that there's times that we have to live through this double standard of what there is out there for us. I know that Carl and I have certain things that we do, and he likes certain things, and he really is big on at night when we're watching TV for me to shut off, and my version of shutting off is not his version of shutting off, but I'm learning to accept that version at times. And so, like, we'll be sitting on the couch and I'll put the pillow down and kind of lay in his lap and whatever. So that is something he wants. He wants that connection. I want, when we go to bed, I just would like for him to reach around and put his arms around me and not sleep that way all night, because he's like, gets really hot and has his night sweats, but just hold me, and I don't get that same thing in return. So it's almost like there's this double standard that we live by, that we have to be careful what we say, because gosh forbid, I mean, we don't want to trigger, and I don't mean to say like gosh forbid we trigger them, because that's never something anybody wants. But we have to be careful about what we say so it doesn't put them in that place, right? And it doesn't set off that trigger, and it doesn't upset them, because we know that when they get triggered and when they get upset, that when that happens, it's not a good situation in our relationship or our family. But when they can get in that spot, or when they get in that place, it's okay for them to say ugly things. And most of the time they don't realize it, or that it hurts our feelings, or that we feel sad, or that it makes us feel depressed, or that it's very discouraging. So there's times that I just feel like I live in this world of double standards, that it's hard for me to get through the double standard moments. And I don't even know how to explain that. That's why she got the puppies. That's funny. I like that, Miriam, but that's why I got the puppies. Because we live in that double standard rule. We live in that rule of double standards. It is so, yeah, mine does too. I got up on the couch with mine this morning. Hers is our puppy Snuggle. But we live by this double standard rule. You know, let's be careful, and they'll tell you, oh, what you said to me today was hurtful, or it set me off, or it put me in a place, or I've got this baggage and you brought that back. But when I try to say time out, I have the same thing, or this bothers me, it's like it gets turned around and it's like, well, on 6 days ago, and 6 days, 3 hours and 26 minutes ago, you said this that was hurtful. Okay, I did. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be hurtful. But let's be realistic. There are times in relationships in life that we say hurtful things without meaning to be hurtful. But when they trigger, hurtful things spew out like a vomit. And it just is what it is. And it just feels like there's so many times that we live by this double standard. You know, and the same thing happens, you know, so many of the letters and the stuff that we receive and the message we receive, and I can't say this about me, because I will say this, Carl is a saint when it comes to this as far as my medical issues go, but we all become the advocate for them and their medical stuff and their counseling and the stuff that goes on with them and the stuff that they need. But then there's times that we need that, and that isn't reciprocated. So we feel like, you know, we're doing and doing and doing and doing and being their advocate and speaking up for them and loving them so deeply, and we don't always get that emotional love in return. You know, I've said this because, you know, Harold brought this to my attention one day in our Let's Talk, and it kind of just escalated from there. And when I started talking to other veterans about them not feeling empathy, well, you know, we can't get through the day with their triggers or what may be a trigger without learning empathy. That's something we have to have in order to make this successful. But when they don't have empathy, you're like, what the heck? So these double standards that we live with are very tough to handle at times. That's what makes us feel like we are giving so much more than we're getting back. And I happened to stumble across, and I thought it was great, and I've reached out to them. It's called 365 Marriage. But I happened to stumble across a live they were doing yesterday on Facebook when I was just scrolling, And yes, mine has ex-wife baggage too. I have ex-husband baggage. So when you start unpacking all that crap, it's not pretty. I mean, we're not even putting the right night stuff in the right drawers. But when I ran across this site, okay, and these people in their live, and what they said was amazing, and I've already reached out to them, right, and I've asked them. So of course it was 2 o'clock in the morning our time, or 2:30 in the morning our time. So I haven't heard back because they're in California. But I've asked them about maybe coming on in January and talking about relationships and how you can get that balance in relationships. But the one thing that they said, and I thought this was amazing, was marriage is both parties giving, but it's both parties giving to the best of their ability within their limitations. I thought that was very interesting. I thought that was very interesting. So there are times, and I've just had to learn, there are some things that Carl cannot give me. Okay? It doesn't mean he doesn't love me. It means he just can't give that to me. So that is where I have to sit back and put on my big girl panties and say, okay, you know what? He can't do that. And there are some days that I can't do stuff. Or I'm just one of those things I just don't do. And he has to be the one. So it is not a 50-50 proposition. And I will tell you, we already know that military and veteran divorce rates are like 30 times higher than the national average, right? I mean, that's like ridiculously higher than the national average. So, morning, honey. So when we go through this, we already know that that's there. And then we get in the mindset that marriage and relationships are a 50-50 thing. That means we're only giving half. Right? Does that make sense? We're only giving half to make it a whole. So as we start evolving through what we're doing, we have to give every day we can. I love that. I got a puppy also. She cuddles. I know. I love my dogs. I couldn't live without Milo. Sorry, they're my babies. But if all we're both doing is half, on the days that we can't give our half, right? Now our 100% relationship, let's say we can only give 25%. So our 100% relationship give at this point is only 75% going forward. So why I know it seems like a set of double standards. When we only give half and they're only giving half, and we can't give our whole 50%, which is what we're putting in, and we're only giving 25%, then the whole relationship effort is 75%. And then when they trigger and they're out completely, now you're only at 25% a give into the relationship. So, yes, we don't baby them, and you don't walk on eggshells. Roxy is so good at this because it takes too much energy. Okay? It takes a lot of energy that they, when we try to walk on eggshells and try to not be real in who we are. You have to be honest, and you have to give 100%, and they have to give 100%, and we cannot dictate what their 100% is. Right? So on those days we don't feel good, on those days that we just don't have it, if we're both giving 100%, that's 200%, right? So I'm doing some math, I'm pretty good at that, and we can only give half of what we're putting in. That's now 150%, and they only can put in half. We're still at 100% give. So you have to kind of go there. There are things that we have to establish that create an end to this double standard. I go back to the golden rule, and I think we've all heard it, we've all been told it. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Not do unto others as they have done unto you. And that's a very interesting concept. Do unto others as you want them, not as they have. And typically, just people in general carry this tally board around in their head that says, well, it must be okay for me to say something hurtful to you because you said something hurtful to me yesterday and you did this. And Carl will do that when we get into it in just a relationship. I'm not talking about knockdown, drag out fights, but when I'm talking about when we're having an argument or a disagreement and he says something hurtful, I'm like, what did you even say that for? And he's like, well, you said that to me 5 days ago. And I'm like, what? What does that have to do with today? So if we always try to keep that mindset, do unto others as we want them to do unto us. You know, all y'all people talking about your new puppies and your puppies. And I love my puppies, don't get me wrong. Right? How do you not walk on eggshells? Because Susan, we're going to tell you, Roxy and I can both tell you this. Okay? It is great. But let me touch this one with the puppies. You don't, when you first get puppies, they don't know how to go pee outside. Am I correct? I mean, they don't know how to go pee outside. So we train them to do that. Repetitive does that. It becomes an instinct at that point. And I'm not saying we train our spouses, but we do. We both kind of train each other to where we want them to go. Walking, there are certain things, Susan, that are true triggers. Okay? And that is a conversation you have to have with them when they are not triggered. And I always tell people it is one item at a time. All right? So ask him specifically, what do you do? One thing. What is one thing I do that triggers you? Okay, that's where Roxy's talking about knowing your veteran. What is one thing that I do that triggers you? So, in my case, I know it's yelling. Do I still yell at times? Yes. Does it still trigger him at times? Absolutely. Do I feel bad after it's done? Yep. But it is, and you have to move on. So when you're talking about not walking on eggshells, yes, it does cause more fights, but you can't give in because what you do at that point is you become an enabler. Right? So we can't live by these double standards all the time. We have to find out what their triggers are, a true trigger, and try to accommodate that. But you cannot condone crappy ass behavior. So now, and trust me, we've evolved through this and living together 24 hours a day, every day, it is huge for us. Finding the right time that is right 100% from each side, and some days that's 200%. Yeah, it does, and we still have 100% or less. But when you're going to talk about their triggers, find the time, and you know them by living with them when they are less triggered. Okay. So when they are not and they're more apt to have a conversation, don't come in with that conversation and say, you're driving me crazy, because the minute you put that blame on them first, they're done. Right? They're done. So when you're going to talk about triggers to stop that eggshell walking, what's the one thing I do? And then we ask in return to be able to say one thing that we just can't deal with anymore. And that's evolving. Your relationship has to evolve. Your relationship has to get better. I look at Nikita and what she does with Richard, okay? And she is my true inspiration with what she does with her Richard. I can't even call him my Richard. That's how she talks about him all the time. But I can't dare say my Richard because she made it clear to me the other day, and I love you for this, that it's her Richard. Okay, so now we got that straight. So what she does with her Richard, you know, that relationship evolved. And that's where we all have to be, is in that evolution to get better. But when you go back to that basic thing about golden rule, do unto others. If I want love, I have to show love. If I want empathy, I have to show empathy. right? If I want respect, I have to show respect. Now, there are certain things that they cannot do. Each veteran with PTSD is different. Not just their PTSD, because we all come with different baggages, different packages prior to getting here. So if I want love in return, I can't just go to bed every night, because when Carl and I first got together, it was every night that he'd lay there and wrap his arms around me, and I just always felt so safe. But I can't go in and say to him, hey, will you just hold me, and expect that to happen every night if I don't do the things that make him feel important too, the things he needs to. Because we always carry, whether we want to or not, we always carry this tally board in our head. Well, she said something hurtful yesterday. Well, he said something hurtful to me, and they said this and that. So you can take that negative. Yeah, the soft voice in his ear and the gentle touch on his head. But you can take that negative and keep tallying up that negative, and all you're going to do is escalate the negative. But if you want love, and you want affection, and you want tenderness, and you want these things, you have to learn to show them. Even when you feel you're not getting anywhere. Because I'm telling you, one day the light switch goes on. Now, I'm not telling you that Carl and I do not argue, because we do. Just like every other couple, it is a relationship thing.
What'd I do?
You didn't do anything one way or the other, please. You didn't. It is a relationship thing. But what we have found is that going through and learning to communicate and learning to show the respect is that now he can say to me, I'm sorry, I see me doing this. Or I will raise my voice when I get angry and I see it building. And he is now learning to talk to me in a way that settles me down so we can have a conversation. But it didn't happen overnight, right? It didn't happen overnight. And Marion says her husband doesn't know the triggers, but she's been observing him. She's learned them. And you're going to learn your spouse's triggers. And it's those things. But the luggage are many and filled to the max. Yeah, mine are too. Girl, if I ever took my past baggage and tried to open it, it would be like a Jack-in-the-Box explosion. All right, it'd be worse than confetti on the 4th of, when they pop that confetti thing at New Year's Eve. But you have to let some of that past baggage out, because that past baggage defines you. But I'm telling you, and Carl is the one who says this to me all the time. It's the little things. Ladies, we don't have to do big things. We don't have to show them love in the big way. We don't have to throw the party and flash the signs, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's the little things. It's when you find what their trigger is, or not necessarily a trigger that puts them into an explosion, when you find the little things that they would like to have. When you find the little stuff. And for me, and he's standing right here, and he will tell you, for us, it's that I don't shut off at night and have us time. Okay? If I had to say the single biggest issue we have is shutting off the rest of the world and having us time. And he doesn't mean for hours and, like 20 hours. He means he would be happy with a half an hour or the hour. Okay? But time that he is my number one. That he and our home and our little fur babies are my number one priority. Now, in my mind, they always are. But when I'm distracted because I'm messaging somebody or doing something, he feels like he's not my priority. Right? So that little thing can create so many issues. And he's right, and he's like I say, he's sitting where you can hear this, and he'll probably chime in a minute.
Probably not.
I say that I'm going to do it, and I do it for about 2 days. I think the longest I've been is 4.
1 week, 3 hours.
Yeah, 1 week, 3 hours. Yeah, I told you he knows. But I do that, and we get to this. Look at that. She made her husband homemade sauce. It was his grandmother's, and he was happy.
I'm gonna get another charger that the furry one chewed up.
Please get me yogurt and blueberries.
Yes.
Thank you.
And blueberries?
Get plain vanilla yogurt and blueberries. Sorry, y'all. Or, yogurt. Light and lively, vanilla, blueberries. Thank you. Love you.
What are you doing?
See? Little things. Tanya, I celebrate my victories. We always celebrate our victories around here. So, and just like Marianne said, made homemade sauce yesterday. Okay, so for Carl and I, we have different backgrounds, different stuff that came into our lives. And so this is not our first Christmas together, but this is the first Christmas in this house. And the first one we're kind of really have developed a great relationship to lead into. And I know the holidays trigger him. They do a lot. So I actually have a Max Lucado book about memories of Christmas. And I'm not going to, and it's where I get like, you kind of fill in the blank about what was your Christmas memory, favorite Christmas carol, those kind of things. So I asked him, we just started talking about Christmas. What do you like on your tree? I am a Christmas tree perfectionist. Behind me, I have my Christopher Radko tree. It's got my Christopher Radkos, and I love them. Carl's not a fan of them, so we have a different tree in the living room that is more where we go. Okay? Yeah, follow through is always the fall apart. I do it all the time. But when you start to ask him and engage him in what do you do for Christmas? What is important to you? What flares you? What do you miss? Now I know how to plan our Christmas based on the little things. And when Marianne says she made homemade sauce, like his grandmother did, when you listen to them, they tell you way more than you think. Okay, they tell you way more than you think. And so you'll quickly learn what their little things are. And you have to get in the habit of the little things. I know we've talked about moments. Y'all, our victories are in moments. Just so you know, I'm doing my victory dance. This is the second day in a row he is going to the store on his own. And for my veteran, it's tough to do that. I mean, he'll run up to the convenience store and grab cigarettes or whatever, but he is literally going to the store to get me something. Right? And he always asks when he goes, like, usually at the convenience store, you want something like a candy bar or whatever, and but he's literally going to the store. So that's the little things, because he knows now, right, that I have a lot going on because we have a calendar up, and he's like, can I do this for you? I'll help you. I mean, Christmas is a huge trigger for a lot of our veterans, and maybe that's a whole topic we'll talk about tomorrow, why that Christmas triggers our veterans. Because it is a huge trigger. They think about loss, they think about what they've done, they think about being away, the Christmases they spent away, the changes that, if they've had to take a life, the changes in that family's life, if they've watched their buddy die, the changes in that life. And so why people are happy, and it's always Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, we're talking about Merry and Holiday, and they have a very hard time struggling through that. But this whole thing about getting the change is truly about little things. And while I don't want to say train, because I think that's such a bad word, but you've got to equate it to something we get. When your puppy comes in the house the very first time, it's going to chew things and it's going to go potty on your floor. Where he's running to the store is because Milo chewed up the third phone charger. He's chewed up 4 TV remotes and 3 phone chargers. And that's on us because I forgot to give Milo his chew toys this morning. So that happens. We have to learn how to elicit a behavior based on the stuff that we're doing. That is so cool. She made split pea soup. Roxy did. From his mom who passed away. Famous recipe. And he said that hers was better than his mom's. And it's hard to beat his mom's cooking no matter what. Yeah. Oh my God, that is so sweet. Y'all people are too sweet. So yes, Milo ate the remote. I tell you, when he's going to go out in the yard, we are afraid that when he goes out and goes potty that the channel on the TV is going to change. But I didn't give Milo his chew toy. Okay, so that was on me this morning. So I think the same thing happens with our veterans. You know, we want a certain response from them, but sometimes we have to give them their little things so that we elicit the same response. And that's just where that it's not always the equal opportunity or disbursement of what we do. But it is them giving 100%. That's where we're trying, our ultimate goal is for them to give 100% of what they're capable of. I know he's yours. And for us to be able to give 100% of what we're capable of. And when we do that, we're going to have a stronger, healthier relationship. That's what happens. And it's hard and it's not easy to navigate through. But I look at this whole list of things that you guys are posting here. And look at the victories. I measure life in victories. That little stuff. The soup is better than my mom's. Marianne making the stuff that was her grandmother's recipe. His grandmother's recipe. And how happy he was. Marianne getting the Polar Pops every day, right? I think that's amazing. Carl does that for me. Ate the memory foam. Oh, that was nice of her. The puppy ate the memory foam mattress to make a hole for herself to sleep in. She wanted to space into bed. I think it's great. But Carl does that for me. You know, he doesn't always tell me to get my pills, but he does come to me after I'm late taking them and nicely lays them on the table next to me and makes sure I have a drink to swallow them with. So, you know, that is the giving. And they will give you so many hints as to what they need, but we have to pay attention. And it is very hard for them, and it's hard for a lot of men to come out and say, I need this. Okay? So listen to the little things, because the little things are going to help you so much along the way. All right, so let me kind of wrap this up because we have so much going on. For those of you who do not know, did not read the post, we are welcoming Roxy to the team. She has been amazing. She is always so positive and full of energy, and we love her. And so she is going to be posting so much more in the group, where she did the thing on sleep apnea, which was amazing. Yeah, you need a good toolbox with good communication skills. That's something else we have to talk about too, is their toolbox. Because A lot of these veterans file everything in their toolbox of avoidance. So that's just one of those things. So I'm telling you, y'all, welcome Roxy. She is amazing. Miss Takia is sharing her My Richard stories for us. Makes me super, super happy. I did say your My Richard stories, so he's your Richard. But she's sharing those for us because I don't think that when you look at love, she just so reminds me of my grandmother and my grandfather and their love that they had after my granddaddy lost his leg when my dad was young, and how much I didn't realize how strong my Nana was and how much she loved him every day by the way she took care of him so much. And that is truly love with her Vietnam veteran and what she does. It is amazing. So I just want to welcome both of them. And Sharon Elwood has joined the team as well. Sharon came to me to do some one-on-ones. And by the way, any of y'all who need one-on-ones, let me know so we can get those done, especially if you need them before Christmas. But Sharon came to me for some one-on-ones. And in communicating with her, well, he's not even a veteran yet. He's still active duty. We're learning to communicate with her active duty guy that has PTSD. She came to us, and then we did a bunch of one-on-ones and some conversations, and she said, hey, how are you funding this? And I'm like, we're not. It's coming out of Stacy's unemployed bucket. You know, we're just all kind of making it work here. And Sharon is she owns a company that helps nonprofits find financial and grow, and she has volunteered her time for us to help us grow. She set up the GoFundMe yesterday, which makes me super, super happy. So there is a GoFundMe pinned to the top of the page, and basically it's just so we can get our 501c3 money designation, so we can get these donations. We've had so many people partner with us or asked to partner with us, and we really need that as well. So that's all going on. Elisa, who is not on here in the daytime because she is in Utah, so in the mornings it is way too early for her. So Elisa will be on our Tuesdays and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. She's going to be hosting those, and I will pop on when I can most of the time. But Elisa Wright's going to start doing those for us so that we have middle of the week, just kind of get together, spouses, talk about anything that makes you happy, anything you're struggling with, just life in general. So it's We Are Family, and she will be hosting those starting today. So we do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3. Like I said, there's just so much going on. There's so much. Marianne, please text me later. Marianne and I both have a very similar experience. She sent this to me last night, so I'm just going to share this. That she just goes out and feeds the homeless and whatever. She found one of the guys was a veteran, and it was amazing in what she did with that. And I go back to my veteran story in Savannah on the streets, and I think that this Christmas, Carl and I might change up Christmas a little. I'm going to see what he thinks, and we're going to take Christmas cards to the homeless on the streets of Savannah, because I just think they need to know that they're loved. So just a great story. Share your story, share your inspiration with us, share your struggles, because I'm telling you, ladies, when you share your inspiration, when you share your little victories, that is so empowering. Roxy's story for her anniversary story on the group was amazing, and I love it. Yeah. And her My Richard story was blood sugar drop. That broke my heart, and just her personal perseverance to make sure that he lives is amazing. And she's wonderful, and she's sharing her stories as well. So if y'all have stories, please share them. That's what we're here for. We are a community. We are a little different in the fact that we love to reach out and inspire and uplift, and that's what we're here for as a group. So again, if if you can give to the thing, $1 a person would be wonderful. If you want to share that, and you know, just tell people what we've done for you, if we've done anything good for you, and ask them if during this holiday giving season, if even if they would do $1, so we can get that 501c3. That is critical to us to continue to move forward and grow. We have. I know that we have a planning meeting at 11 today. Anybody else who did not get the email who wants to help us grow and wants to put their input in, please send me a message real quick and I can get you the Zoom link to get you into that planning meeting, because there is so much going on and we just need so much resources. And of course I'm running over as usual because these are getting longer and longer. We have a lot going on. Holidays are coming. Everybody get excited. Don't forget, we want to see y'all on Let's Talk tonight. I'll go put that up right now on the group and in the Facebook page itself. Share that with other veterans and spouses if they just need to talk. It is great because we do bring both sides on, so you get to hear it from both sides. I think that is about it. We will see y'all tomorrow. I'll see most of y'all tonight. I'm Stacy. This has been Walking in My Shoes. We are loving my veteran. Thanks all of y'all for your input, and we will talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.